What's happening, guys? This is Greener from Building Blocks, and today I want to take a look at just the markets, what's going on, right? World news, Canadian news, and what's going on with the blockchain crypto space. So, number one thing is that the PC government leader has now been speaking positively about Bitcoin adoption, right? And he even says that he sees it being used as money. Now, whether or not that actually happens here in Canada, I don't think they want to have a currency like Bitcoin being the end all be all for Canadian currency here. I think that the banks have too much of a stranglehold on that whole entire market that it won't happen right now. At least not right now. I think over maybe the next couple years we'll see a little bit more of a shift towards it. Maybe I mean we're one of the forefront people about crypto and stuff. We're pretty positive on when it comes to cryptocurrency and stuff like that and blockchain. So it's just interesting to see that the PC guy, Pierre, he wants to see Canada as being one of the blockchain capitals of the world, right? So, which he's talking about, crypto mining and stake pools and just stuff like that, like just being more proactive when it comes to cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. I think that's just a great move when it comes to for Canada. I think that we're light years ahead of the United States. I think that the United States is so fearful about losing their USD peg, basically, because they're seen as being the global dollar is the United States dollar. So I think that that's why there's a lot of problems in surrounding cryptocurrency in the United States. But in Canada, we have a different government. We have different things that are going on here, and I think that I think the average person sees the price of gas here in Canada and the price of food, that how much it's gone up, and inflation. So I think people are starting to turn towards Bitcoin now as a that hedge against inflation, which is smart in my opinion. This is my opinion, right? I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, but that's just my personal opinion. That seeing these banks so fearful of crypto and Bitcoin itself that now the governments and regulators are starting to turn towards it and say, well, maybe we should start considering it, right? And maybe we should try to figure out how to use it and utilize it rather than sitting there and telling people to not look at it, right? So I think the biggest thing going forward is just to keep an eye on what's happening in Canada, because I mean, if he wants to bring more blockchain technology to Canada and make us one of the larger uh, contributors to blockchain and the way that it all operates, mining or anything along those lines, that's a really good news for a lot of Canadians. I mean, it could bring work. Um, that being said, that I think over the last 2 years, there's been too many people losing their jobs, and maybe this will be the one industry that has kind of proven to blast right through this entire problem that we're seeing right now with inflation and money printing and everything in between there that you're seeing with the government and how they've handled the situation over the last 2 years. So, anyway, we're going to talk about another Silvergate Bank in the United States is now offering $205 million to MicroStrategy for, was it Bitcoin bonds? So, I mean, I think it's kind of scary to see a company like MicroStrategies and Michael Saylor. Um, he's just eaten up all of the dips. He's still, investing into Bitcoin. So it's like that. It's like that. What's that saying? It's you know, you got to be the whale, right? And that's just what he's becoming. He's becoming that whale, um, and he's now just holding on. And where do we see Bitcoin in the next, 10 or 20 or 30 years from now? That's what he's looking at, right? He's not looking at what it's going to be tomorrow or even in 2023, he's looking at it, well, what's it going to be in 2030? What's it going to be in 2040? Right? He might be long gone and dead by that point, but his empire that he's created will obviously last for generations and centuries after that. I mean, the whole purpose of this is to create or generational wealth, right? Because we're at the stage right now where the stock market was back in the 30s, right? So when the stock market came out, and there was a crazy amount of these companies all jumped onto the stock markets, and you know, so we're at that same stage where it's it's growing, and it's growing rapidly. Okay, and it's the same sentiment that was back in the 1930s. Some people got their jackets ripped right off of them because of the simple fact that they didn't know what they were investing into, right? And then they see a little bit of a dip, and then they panic and they sell and they get rid of it, and then the next thing you know, it's right back up to where it was, or if not higher. And we're seeing that same type of market stuff that's going on right now with in regards to cryptocurrency, right? So it's just interesting to see this, that you know Michael Saylor and MicroStrategies is still just eating it all up. Um, for him, I don't think he even cares that it's sitting at, I think, 49,000 or something like that American right now. I mean, eventually you're gonna see it hit 100 grand, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, it went down to 90." But you know, seeing the way that the last 2 years has completely shifted the way that people are looking at crypto and digital assets is insane, right? So another little news story was that El Salvador wants to open up Bitcoin bonds in their country. So we seen was it last year or the year before that? No, it was last year. Sorry, that they made Bitcoin legal tender, and there was pushback with the public for a little while, from what I understand, and people didn't want to. They didn't see anything wrong with the U.S. dollar, but then he kind of explained, we use the United States dollar as our currency, but we never got any part of the stimulus checks. We never got anything like that the American people got, right? So we were getting told to use their dollar, but in reality, we didn't even get any stimulus checks when it came to the pandemic and everything like that. So, which then caused the president to sit there and maybe reevaluate the situation, and sit there and go, well, maybe I should just start looking at Bitcoin and digital assets, and maybe go for decentralization rather than a centralized currency that we don't really take part in. I mean, we use it, but we're not part of your program on where the money is going, right? So I think that's just the sentiment that's going on right now, is that people are becoming more aware about how banks and governments are now using their power to basically screw the little guy, right? I mean, you're not seeing it's the working class over the last 2 years that have gotten screwed, and I think it's the working class right now that are looking and turning towards some sort of crypto or blockchain type of stuff that's going on right now, to hopefully hedge themselves, to hopefully come out further ahead down the road. And it's do what I say, not as I do, right? You're seeing a lot of these banks and governments around the world right now talking about CBDCs, and partnering with certain crypto companies, right? Like Stellar or Ripple or whoever, right? And they're talking about making a CBDC and a centralized digital bank currency or whatever, right? And yeah, it's absolutely insane to sit there and go, oh well, maybe we shouldn't look into Bitcoin right now because it's dropped down. Oh, it's dropped down $10,000, right? Oh, I don't know. I'm scared. Oh, it's dropped down 40%. Oh my God, right? Oh my God. But in reality, it came out in 2008. Look at how far it's come in the 12 years or 13 years, right? That it's been around and kind of viable, and you see, there was lots of updates that they've done over the couple years, and but for the most part, I mean, it's crazy to think that we're not going to go to a digital dollar, right? I think that that's just the way that it's eventually going to go, you know. Um, whether it happens today or tomorrow or 2 or 3 years from now or 5 years from now, it's besides the point. I think we're just at that point where, we have to evolve with technology, right? And that's my main thing right there, is that, we can only be as smart as what we put forward, right? And if we're going to be developing these new types of technology, then we should try to learn how to adapt and to grow with it, right? Like I was mentioning before, blockchain is basically artificial intelligence, right? It's you're getting these validations through a computer program and an algorithm, right? And each transaction is 100% confirmed without having human intervention, right? So when you start to think about that, it's like, well, why do we have to have, tens of thousands of bankers out there, right? We don't. We don't. If I had a choice to get paid in some sort of digital currency from my place of employment, I would. But I don't have that option, right? I mean, it's pretty well already digital anyway. Like I get my, my pay stub through an email, and I never see the money getting transferred into my account. It's just digital. It's through some sort of deposit or whatever, and it still takes 4 days to do that, right? Wouldn't it be handy for a lot of these banks to have that transaction done within a couple of minutes? Right? Just saying, right? I mean, when you start to actually look at it and to understand the process of how blockchain's running, right? And how quick it is and how fast those transactions can go through. I mean, it just makes sense to when you see these countries starting to adopt it, because it doesn't matter if it takes Bitcoin 45 minutes, right? I mean, with the Lightning Network, you're a heck of a lot faster, right? But not every country has that Lightning Network operational. But for the most part, I mean, if you did have that Lightning Network operational in your country of origin, right, it would be so quick, right? It'd be that transaction would be complete by the time you walked out of that door, right? So anyway, signing off for today is just a little bit of some information that I found online about new crypto adoption. Uh, focusing on Canada and a couple countries around the world. So anyway, signing off for today is Greener from Building Blocks. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you know, share the video. So thank you very much, and signing off.